Hey guys, it's Allie. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to second video of Parenting Your Parent. Now, first of all, this information is applicable whether you are caregiving for a spouse, a sibling, or another loved one that may have some dementia or memory loss. But for the sake of argument, we're going to call it Parenting Your Parent. This information, though, does translate to any kind of those caregiving situations if you love someone with dementia. And any form of dementia, really. So I want to say first that your loved one is a true grown adult. No matter their cognitive level, they have a background that is full and rich. They have probably had careers. They've raised children. They have made tough decisions. They may have gone to war. And so when I am talking about comparing someone's brain and their ability to process to that of a child, I do not mean any disrespect by that. And I am not referring to them as a child, but I think it is helpful to understand that when you have brain issues, when you've got brain death, which is essentially what dementia is, that you can then draw a line and compare a mental age, meaning like the child that you've raised, you know what they were like when they were 5 years old, when they were 10 years old, what they were able to handle when they were 16. It is a good way to correlate and to say, what is my loved one capable of? Do they remind me right now of when my children were 5 or 6 years old? You can easily then draw a line to your loved one and say, what my 5 or 6 year old could handle is going to be similar to my loved one who is at that cognitive level. Okay, so they're not a child. I'm not being disrespectful, but I just wanted to start with that. So first of all, when we have children, we know this. So those of us who have raised kids, we actually have an advantage here. We know not to over discuss things with children because it makes it frustrating for the child. So that is especially important for someone if you are like me and you think out loud. I need to process out loud. I need to talk to a friend and figure out, kind of work through and get to a solution. So it is very important if I'm taking care of someone with dementia that I'm not doing that with my loved one. They cannot process and follow along my thought process, and they're going to get stuck on one of the first things I said or one of the most upsetting pieces of what I said, and it's just going to get them all wound up. And it is not fair for me to process out loud with someone who has dementia. Okay, so it is my responsibility then, if I'm parenting my parent, to talk to a friend, to process things with a counselor or a social worker or someone else in my life, but most definitely not with my loved one. Again, it's all about what they can process and what they can handle, and we don't want to upset people. And folks who have dementia, a lot of times they get very easily confused and then anxious and upset about that. So if I'm processing out loud, then I may see nighttime upset. I may see behavior disturbances. I may see pushback when it comes time to meals and things like that. So very important not to over discuss situations with our loved one. Okay, second of all, and really kind of connected to that, is not over explaining. So what do I mean by that? Okay, let's use the example again of a child. If I'm going to take my son to the doctor and I know they're going to draw blood and my kid is young and he's going to be upset about that, if I let him know, first of all, that they're going to draw blood, and second of all, why they're doing it, all the different diseases they might be testing for, the different things that could be wrong in their body, it would be very upsetting information for him. You would probably see with most children sleep disturbances, not being able to calm down or have a good day leading up to the point where he's going to have his blood drawn. So if I'm dealing with a child, I'm going to purposely leave that information out. And then when it comes time, I'm going to, when appropriately for his personality, let him know the appropriate length of time ahead of time, which is usually going to be just like 10 minutes, just enough time to let him know it's happening. But we're gonna stay calm, and afterwards we're gonna do something fun or enjoyable. We're gonna go get his favorite food, and we work through it that way. So in the same way, we have to be careful not to over-explain to folks who have dementia. So you're doing yourself a disservice and them a disservice if you're saying, we're going to the doctor next Friday, we're testing for XYZ, this is what we're looking for. Be careful also that even if you're not speaking to them, that you're not speaking in front of them about the same situation, okay? Don't think, and I'm sorry to be so negative, but don't think that they're not listening. Because even if they're asleep, or even if you don't think they can hear you or quite understand what's going on, it's crazy to me that someone who has hearing loss, they won't hear a darn thing you're trying to tell them when you want them to hear, but when you don't want them to hear it, oh my goodness, they pick up on it. So let's make sure that we are avoiding over-explaining situations, over-discussing it, and giving too much information that's only going to lead to upset and probably behavior issues and just resistance in general, okay? The other thing is, final for today's video, is when you need to tell them something, don't put it in the form of a question. Okay, so for example, if it's time to eat, if dinner is on the table and it's hot and it's ready to go, we don't say, are you ready to eat? Okay, why would you do that? You don't want to give them the opportunity to say no. And guess what? No is a response that comes out of our mouths so easily. Remember when your children were very, very little, the very first thing they learned to do is refuse to participate and say no to you. They would say no about everything. So that's something that happens a lot of times with seniors who are dealing with dementia. So we don't ask. If it is something that we should be telling, we just tell. It's time to eat. Dinner's ready. It's time to brush our teeth. It's time for a bath. If we say, do you want to take a bath? Don't be surprised when the answer's no. Because even an adult who has no cognitive disability is going to say no if they're comfortable, if they're sitting and they're relaxed and they are doing something they'd rather be doing. Anyone's going to say no to that. So don't give them a chance, and don't give yourself a chance to get frustrated by creating that situation. So we are going to not over discuss. We are going to not over explain. We are going to cut down the information that we give to usable bite-sized pieces and focus on what we're going to do next, and not what we're going to do like next week, next month, next year. So we're not going to talk about a doctor's appointment every day leading up to it. The best way to deal with a doctor's appointment for most folks at a certain level is to mention it not until it's that day. Depending on where they are in their dementia, you may be able to tell them the day before. But if you see that it creates anxiety and they get up in the middle of the night because they're trying to go to the appointment, just don't tell them. Just don't tell them. It's okay. It's okay. So my final word today is that we respect a person by giving them the appropriate information for what they can handle. It is not disrespectful to recognize and accommodate the limitations of your loved one. The best way to be successful when we're caring for someone that we love that has dementia or memory loss is to keep in mind what they can handle and not give them more than they can handle. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I wish you all the very best. And if you're seeing this video on YouTube, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, like, and comment. I would love your feedback. Thanks so much, and have a great day.